Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. This is a special preview ahead of the fight, which will be happening on Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, kind of depending on where you are. It is between Naoya Inoue versus Paul Butler in an undisputed fight for the world bantamweight titles. Delighted to be joined by Paul Kelly. Paul, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks, mate. All good. Looking forward to just getting into this fight alone. Just the one fight. Obviously, we had our other previous show, but yeah, I think this fight does deserve its own little 5-10 minute show just because it's for all of the belts.
Yeah, look, I mean, some people, whether people are able to tune into this because it's on a Tuesday afternoon our time is a different debate. But this is an undisputed fight. It's with a pound for pound star in Inoue. I think he'll be in everyone's top 10 pound for pound. He'll be in some people's top 5 pound for pound. Going up against Paul Butler, who is a two-time world champion. As we know, he's a world champion. He was a few years ago now at bantamweight beforehand, and now he's world champion at bantamweight again. He's 34-2 and 34 years old, so he's an experienced fighter. He's been around a while. Only 15 KOs out of that 34 wins. So you can't describe Butler as a massive puncher. Inoue, as we all know, is one of the biggest punchers in world boxing. 23-0, 20 knockouts. Perhaps his toughest fight so far is that first fight against Nonito Donaire, which was still a unanimous decision, but had a couple of close scorecards then. As we know, kind of the rematch was very one-sided, was kind of a blowout within 2 rounds earlier this year. Looking forward to hearing your general thoughts on this fight, Paul. How much of a test is this for Inoue, do you think?
I am interested in the fight and I'm intrigued. I'll definitely be keen to watch it. But in terms of how much of a test it is, I'm not going to be like Elliot Grigg and say that it's a complete mismatch. Although I think Inoue against anyone at bantamweight kind of is a mismatch, so I do understand where people are coming from. I think Inoue will win. I think it'll win. I don't think he'll blast them out, in 1 or 2 rounds like we've seen Inoue do. A lot of fighters, even the Donaire fight recently, when it only took 2 rounds, 3 rounds. I could see this maybe going into the middle rounds, 4 to 6 or so. So saying, is it a massive test for Inoue? No, I don't see any world in which Paul Butler wins this. But in saying that, I don't think it'll be an Inoue blast 1 round. First shot he lands, he gets Paul Butler out of there, because I know a lot of people might disagree, but Paul Butler in his own right he is a good fighter. He is a good technician. The only 2 defeats on his record are to Solane Tete and Manuel Rodriguez. And they were, that was in 2015 against Tete and 2018 against Rodriguez. He has a few good wins himself. He is clearly a good fighter, but obviously Inoue is just a different level, really.
Yeah.
I think there's nobody that can beat Inoue. I don't really think at that. I think the test for Inoue will come if he moves up to super bantam.
Yeah, I think just Paul Butler does have the right to be there. He is a world champion, and I feel like he's kind of been forced into a corner when you've got 1 belt and the other guy has got the rest of them, and that guy's the A side, the bigger fighter. You've kind of it's difficult to not fight that person. And credit to Paul Butler, he's going to Japan. I hope he's getting paid well for it, but it's a very big ask. And I think you made a good point in just saying, like, there's nobody at bantamweight who is a test for Inoue. And personally, I'm dying for him to move up now, because I think moving up, there are some very interesting fights for him there. Stephen Fulton, being Akhmadiliev being 2 of them. I think I would love to see him move up and fight for a world title at super bantamweight next year. I think that's what's needed, because sooner or later it's going to start to get a bit boring seeing him just not really get tested against these bantamweight guys. So yeah, that's kind of what we need. Cool. This is a fairly short video, but 2 questions from me, Paul. First is, if Paul Butler pulls this off, is this the biggest shock by a British fighter, would you say? yeah,
Yes,
that kind of like world title level.
yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
I
So
can't
I
really
think
think
you,
of.
what would you agree?
Yeah, like I'm trying to wrap my brains now and can't really think. I can't really think of another one. We've seen upsets over the years, but nothing for this sort of size.
Yeah, I definitely agree. A lot of people obviously said that Fury beating Klitschko at the time
Mm.
away from home was a big one, but I think this is even it would be even more spectacular, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. This isn't a betting show. We've not seen the odds yet, but we will we'll have a look at some point. But it's going to be, yeah, it would be a massive shock. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Look, I hope Paul Butler goes there, makes gives a good account of himself. It's still possible to lose and do that. Um, and we'll see what happens. We'll round things off. Paul, what is your final prediction for this fight?
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. I said earlier, Inoue in the mid round, so I'll go for Inoue knockout in round five.
Yeah, round five. I think I'm going to go a bit earlier than that. I think I'll go for round three. I actually think it could be competitive for the first couple of rounds, but in a way, I just think we'll get to him a bit earlier than round five. But we'll see. We'll see. All the best to Paul Butler and Joe Gallagher, of course, in Japan on Tuesday. Looking forward to watching it and yeah, seeing what both fighters do next. Paul, thank you for joining me. We'll speak post fight. Okay.
Yes, cheers out, all the best.